Saturday mornings in our apartment usually smell like coffee and compromise. I was scrambling eggs, happy in my small kingdom of butter and salt, when she slid onto a stool at the counter and watched me like I might confess to something. "You ever feel like we stopped living and started coasting?" she asked. "Coasting sounds nice," I said. "People pay to coast." "It's called a cruise." She did a slow blink. "I mean us, Adam. We're predictable. We go to work, we watch a show, we fall asleep. Rinse and repeat." "Wow," I said. "You remembered our shampoo routine." Tessa didn't smile. "I'm serious." "I know." I plated eggs, cut up a couple of tomatoes, and slid a dish to her. "I am too. We have a good life. Predictable beats chaotic. Sometimes chaotic is fun," she said, poking a tomato like it had personally wronged her. "Sometimes chaotic is a kitchen fire and a call to insurance." She sighed and tucked hair behind her ear. "I was reading about couples who try, new rules, new freedom. Like switching to almond milk?" "Adam." She gave me the look. "Some couples try opening things up. For a while, no lies, no sneaking, just permission to breathe a little. It keeps things exciting." I cleaned the pans slowly. "If you need to breathe, open a window. If you need excitement, we can add chili flakes. You always joke." "Because the other option is yelling," I said. "And I'm a morning person in theory only. I'm bringing this up like an adult. And I'm answering like one." I turned, leaned my hip on the counter. "I married you because I wanted you. Not options. If you need other people, you're already gone." Her eyes hardened, then smoothed over like a lake after a stone. "It was just a thought." "Bad one," I said, softer. "But thanks for bringing it to the suggestion box. We're now closed for submissions." She stabbed a tomato and ate it. "I'm just saying, a little freedom could fix the boredom." "We're not bored," I said. "We're tired." There's a difference. Tessa didn't reply. She finished half the eggs, pushed the plate away, and scrolled her phone with careful indifference. I finished mine and rinsed the dishes. "We still going to Derek and Natalie's tonight?" I asked. "Yes," she said, bright again. "It'll be fun." "Your definition of fun worries me today." She hopped off the stool. "Wear the blue shirt." "The one you hate?" "I don't hate it," she said. "It's just too nice for you." "Great pep talk," I said. "Can't wait." The afternoon was the usual Saturday mashup. Laundry humming, me fixing a squeaky hinge, Tessa trying on 3 outfits and declaring war on all of them. At 4, she settled on a black dress that said, "I didn't try," which is code for spending 20 minutes making it look effortless. We drove in polite silence, not angry silence. The kind where you both listen to the same song and pretend you're thinking deep thoughts about the lyrics, not about morning conversations you'd like to delete. Derek and Natalie live in one of those houses that looks like it was built by people who own 3 types of towels for guests. There's always something simmering, something baking, and a playlist that sounds like you're in a commercial for expensive olive oil. Derek opened the door with a grin that could power a small city. "Adam, my man!" He hugged me like I'd just returned from war. "Tessa, queen of shade, you look incredible." "Flatter me after I see your charcuterie," Tessa said, stepping inside. Natalie appeared carrying a tray of tiny things on toothpicks. "Chicken sauté?" "Save your praise for the peanut sauce." "I live for the peanut sauce," I said, and popped one in my mouth. It was glorious. If our marriage ever needed therapy, Natalie's peanut sauce would represent hope. The living room had already collected a small crowd. People talked about work, vacations, the slow-motion disaster of someone's kitchen remodel. Bradley was there, glasses low on his nose, telling a story so dry it could start a brush fire. Madison was lounging on the couch, long legs crossed, a glass of red wine held like a prop in a movie, where she plays the one who sees through everyone. Madison is Tessa's friend, at least officially. In practice, Madison is the person who leans in during small talk and whispers the truth like it's a joke. We've always gotten along because I don't mind being the straight line for someone else's punchlines. Adam, she said as I walked by, you wearing a shirt Tessa hates. Bold. I like to live dangerously, I said. Also, I only own 3 shirts that aren't shameful. 4th grade field day tea doesn't count, she said, and we both smiled. Tessa drifted over, light as smoke. Madison, try the wine. It's actually not bad for something Derek bought. Derek, across the room, clutched his chest. Slander in my own home. Natalie patted his arm. She's right, though. Conversations braided and unbraided. I ended up near the kitchen with Bradley, who was explaining a tax thing I would never need, but felt polite pretending to understand. Tessa floated through groups with an easy laugh. I watched her the way you watch a magician and try to see the trick. She refilled her glass and caught my eye. There was something in her look I couldn't pin down. Not warmth, not anger. The morning conversation stuck to my ribs. Madison wandered over and leaned on the island. So, Adam, she said, on a scale of 1 to, please let me leave, how are we feeling about tonight? I'm somewhere between your peanut sauce is my god now and the remodel story might kill me. Good middle ground, she said. If you die here, we'll bury you under the new backsplash. Classic, I said. Make me useful. Tessa reappeared with Natalie, both laughing at something that probably deserved it. The room warmed with people and wine. The playlist shifted to songs everyone pretends to hate but knows the words to. Someone dropped a spoon, someone shouted, 5-second rule, and immediately regretted it when Natalie glared. Around 9 people had formed stable orbits. I ended up back on the couch, right side, Madison on the left arm like a perched cat. Tessa took the chair across from us, legs folded, dressed perfect like a commercial for a life where lint doesn't exist. She'd had 3 glasses? Maybe 4. Enough to float. Not enough to blame things on. Madison swirled her wine. So, any new projects, Adam? Fixing a squeaky hinge, I said. I'm a man of wild ambition. Tessa smiled without the eyes. He loves hinges. Hinges and spreadsheets. Bradley walked by and overheard. A friend of mine just switched all his hinges to soft close. Changed his life. Bradley, Madison said, your bar for life-changing is on the floor. He pointed his glass at her. Low bars are easier to clear. Point, she said. Tessa checked her phone again. Her thumb paused. She set it down, and then she stood. It wasn't dramatic. No clinking of glass. She just straightened, took a breath, and in the natural lull of conversation, said in a voice designed to be overheard, just so everyone knows, Adam and I are in an open relationship now. The room did what rooms do in slow car crashes. Sound fell off a cliff. Someone's laugh broke in half. Music kept going because music has no dignity. I looked at her. She looked back like she'd just announced a sale at the mall. My brain did a quick inventory of choices. Laugh, shout, leave, combust. Instead, I set my glass down. No slam. Just glass to table like a period to a sentence. As you wish, I said. Calm. No spice. I felt more than saw heads turn. Madison didn't move. Her wine stayed midair. Tessa's lip twitched, triumphant and unsure at the same time. She waited for me to short-circuit. I didn't. I turned my head to the right, to Madison, who was watching me with that surgical interest she saves for scalpel moments. Madison, I said, as if asking about the weather, you free this Saturday? I'd like to take you out. Her grin arrived like someone flipping a light. Wicked, pleased, dangerous. She didn't even pretend to think. Sure, she said. I can do everything better than her. Somebody dropped a glass. Derek whispered, oh, damn. Natalie's mouth formed a perfect circle. Bradley finally found a story worth listening to. Tessa froze. Her face did a 4-step routine. Smug, confused, shocked, pale. "What are you doing?" she managed. I stood up, smooth. "Accepting your terms," I said. "You wanted open." Now it's open. Madison slid off the arm of the couch and reached for her jacket with cat-like efficiency. "Text me the details for Saturday," she said to me, still smiling. "Then to the room? Great party, Derek. Always entertaining." She walked past Tessa without a glance and headed for the door. I looked at Tessa one last second. Not angry, just done. "Can we talk outside?" she said, voice small, shaking. "Sure," I said. We walked through a crowd that looked everywhere but at us. The porch light hit us. The night air tasted like cut grass and something burning 2 houses away. Behind us, the party exhaled. Low voices, a laugh that died fast. The music turning up 2 clicks like it wanted to cover the whole. Tessa grabbed my arm. "What the hell was that?" "An equal opportunity moment," I said. "You opened the door, I just walked through it." Her jaw clenched. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone." I laughed once, short. "You announced to 20 people that I'm on the community dating plan. I think we're even. It was a joke," she snapped. "You know how I talk when I've had a little wine?" "Right," I said. "Nothing says fun night out like casually telling your friends your marriage has a subscription model." "Stop being dramatic." I leaned on the porch rail. "I'm calm. You're the one yelling." She crossed her arms. "You made me look like an idiot." I tilted my head. "Tessa, you didn't need any help with that tonight." That one landed. Her lips parted, then closed again like she'd swallowed something sharp. "You can't seriously think what you did was okay," she said. "I think," I said, "it was proportional response." Like a diplomatic airstrike, she blinked. "Oh my God, you think you're clever." "I know I am," I said. "It's how I cope with being married to a woman who tests loyalty like it's a fire drill." Her shoulders dropped a little. "You're twisting this." "Tessa," I said, quieter, "you can't humiliate someone and then get mad they didn't crumble on schedule." We stood in silence for a moment. Somewhere down the street, a car door slammed and laughter carried on the wind. Normal people doing normal things. She finally said, "Can we just go home?" "Sure," I said. "Let's take the marital getaway car." The drive home was silent except for the turn signal. That passive-aggressive click that always sounds like judgment. She stared out the window. I kept my hands on the wheel, thinking about how everything felt both heavy and absurd. Halfway home, she said, "Are you really going to go out with Madison?" "I don't know," I said. "You seem to think we both should see other people." It was sarcasm. "Was it?" I asked. "Because the room didn't think so." She turned to me, angry now. "You can't just humiliate me because you didn't get the joke." "Oh, I got it," I said. "I just didn't laugh." We got home around 10:30. The apartment felt colder, emptier, like the walls were waiting to pick sides. She threw her purse on the couch. "So what now?" "I was thinking bed," I said. "But apparently that's open too, so who knows?" "God, you're insufferable." "And you're reckless," I shot back. "We're both thriving." She rubbed her forehead. "I didn't mean it, Adam. I was trying to get your attention. You've been distant." I leaned against the counter. "You mean working? Paying bills? Fixing your squeaky drawer? That kind of distant?" She glared. "You used to be more fun. And you used to be more kind," I said. "Looks like we both downgraded." She bit her lip, probably to stop something worse from coming out. "You made me look like a fool." "You did that," I said, "when you turned our marriage into a TED Talk." Her voice cracked. "I just wanted to shake things up." "Well," I said, "consider things shaken." She turned away, arms crossed. The silence stretched, broken only by the fridge hum and the sound of her trying not to cry. When she finally spoke, her voice was small. "Can we just forget it?" "No." That one word hit like a slap. She looked at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean," I said, We don't get to pretend this didn't happen. You don't get to hit undo every time you regret something. I said I was sorry. And I heard it, I said. But you said it to clean the mess, not to own it. Tessa's face flushed. You're impossible. Then stop trying to fix me, I said. Fix the part of you that thinks destroying trust is foreplay. She blinked hard, then walked toward the bedroom. I can't talk to you when you're like this. I called after her. You mean honest? The door slammed. I stood there a minute, listening to the quiet. Then I poured myself a glass of water, because that's what responsible adults do after emotional arson. From the bedroom came the muffled sound of her crying, soft, then louder, then gone. For the first time, I didn't go check on her. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. A message from Madison. Don't back down. She needed that reality check. I stared at it for a while, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Then I typed back, didn't plan any of it. She replied almost instantly, yeah, that's what made it perfect. I set the phone down and laughed quietly, not the happy kind, the you can't make this up kind. Somewhere behind the bedroom door, Tessa sniffled again, and I realized the funniest part of the night wasn't what she said in front of everyone. It was that she thought she could still control how the story ends. Mornings after emotional disasters are weirdly polite, like both people signed a peace treaty in their sleep but forgot to read the fine print. I woke up on the couch fully dressed, neck stiff, heart heavier than my head. Tessa's bedroom door was closed, light leaking through the crack like she was trying to keep her guilt on dim mode. The coffee machine clicked on, her doing. At least she hadn't packed her bags overnight, which was progress by our new standards. I walked in, rubbing my face. Morning. She turned from the counter, holding 2 mugs. Coffee? Thanks, I said, taking it. We doing small talk now? I thought we could try civility. Sure, I said. Like diplomats after a war crime. She sighed. You're still mad. I'm still awake, I said. The rest is just a symptom. She sat down at the table, avoiding eye contact. I embarrassed you. I shouldn't have. I was drunk, and I was stupid. That's a lot of I was, I said. Any plans for I'll stop? She flinched a little. Adam, I don't know what's happening to us. We used to be so close. We used to like each other, I said. Now we just share Wi-Fi. She frowned. Do you have to joke about everything? Yes, I said. Because if I don't, I start thinking about how the woman I love publicly downgraded me to a roommate. Tessa looked away. I already said I was sorry. I heard it, I said. Now I'm waiting for you to mean it. Her eyes watered. What do you want me to do, Adam? Nothing, I said. Just stop trying to win every argument like it's a sport. She wiped her cheek quickly, pretending it was just an itch. Then she changed tone, softer, calculated. You really think I'd want an open relationship? You announced it like a press release, I said. Seemed convincing. I was jealous, okay? That stopped me. Jealous? She hesitated. You've been distant, detached, always working, never here. I thought if I said something crazy, you'd react. And you did. Mission accomplished, I said. Collateral damage, everything else. She looked down at her mug. I hate when you make me feel like the villain. I almost said, then stop auditioning for the role, but I swallowed it. Barely. I'm going for a walk, I said instead. Adam, text me if you decide we're monogamous again. I grabbed my jacket and left. The morning air felt cleaner than our marriage. I walked 2 blocks before my phone buzzed. Madison, you alive, or should I send flowers? I smirked. Alive. Confused. Possibly nominated for Best Supporting Husband Madison. You handled last night like a pro. I've never seen Tessa lose control that fast. That's because she's used to controlling the script, I wrote back. I just rewrote her ending. A pause then. She's been hinting about this for weeks. The whole freedom thing, I told her it was a stupid idea. You told her? Yep. She thinks life is a movie where she can test people and still get the applause at the end. I stopped walking, staring at the screen. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know she didn't accidentally say it. She planned it. Maybe not word for word, but she wanted a reaction. To prove you'd still fight for her, I laughed out loud. The kind of laugh people do when they realize they're the punchline. Well, I fought. Just not for her approval. Good, Madison replied. Don't play her game. She's addicted to control. The only way to win is not to play, you sound like my therapist. Free advice, no copay. Then she added, if you ever need a real friend to talk to, I mean it. I pocketed the phone and exhaled. The street was quiet, except for a dog barking at nothing. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the one who'd messed up. When I got back, Tessa was on the couch scrolling her phone, probably rehearsing her next narrative for social media. She glanced up. Where'd you go? For a walk. Without me? You seemed busy refreshing Instagram. She frowned. I was checking messages. Any from your open fan club? Stop, she said sharply. I took off my jacket and sat across from her. You know, I actually wanted to believe you were drunk, that you slipped up. But Madison texted me. Her eyes widened a little. Madison? Yeah, she said you've been talking about freedom for weeks. Tessa's expression shifted. Guilt, anger, surprise, all trying to win. You're talking to her now? She's a friend, I said. Apparently an honest one. Tessa crossed her arms. She's always had a thing for you. I raised an eyebrow. So, just to be clear, you announced to everyone we're open, and now you're jealous? She bit her lip. That's different. It's literally the opposite of different, I said. It's textbook irony. Don't you see what she's doing? Tessa said. She's manipulating you. Maybe, I said. Or maybe she's just not afraid to tell the truth. She looked away, voice trembling. I can't believe you're taking her side. I'm taking reality's side, I said. Yours keeps changing hourly. Her jaw tightened. You think this is funny, don't you? No, I said, standing up. I think it's tragic with good dialogue. I grabbed my keys. I'll be at the garage. Something there actually makes sense. Adam, don't, I said. If you start another speech, I might start clapping. And I walked out again. Because some mornings, the only way to stay sane is to leave before the apology turns into another performance. The garage is the only place left where things still make sense. I was bent over the bike, oil on my hands and peace in my head, when my phone rang on the workbench. Not a text, a call. Madison. I hesitated a second before answering. Hey, she said, the kind of calm voice that sounds like it's holding a smile. Rough day? You could say that. Yeah, word got around fast. Derek's group chat exploded. You okay? Define okay, I said, wiping my hands with a rag. I've been publicly promoted to community property. That's a first. She laughed softly. You sound like you could use caffeine. Want to grab coffee? Nothing dramatic, just fresh air and something that doesn't judge you. I looked at the half-disassembled engine and exhaled. Yeah, coffee sounds like therapy with less paperwork. Half an hour? She asked. Half an hour. Good. Don't wear that murder face you had last night. Noted. When the call ended, the garage felt too small. I cleaned my hands, tossed the rag aside, and headed back to the apartment. Tessa was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her phone like it might start apologizing for her. When she heard the door, her head jerked up. Where are you going? She asked. Out, I said, crossing to the sink to wash off the grease. Coffee. With who? Madison. Her expression shifted. Half disbelief, half panic hidden behind attitude. You're seriously going to see her? Yes, I said, drying my hands. She called. I said, yes, You think that's appropriate after last night? I think announcing to 20 people that we're open covered the topic of what's appropriate. I turned toward her. You made the rules, remember? She stood up fast. You don't have to be an ass about it. I'm not, I said, walking past her toward the bedroom. I'm just finally taking you literally. You're doing this to hurt me. No, I said. That would require me to still be trying. In the mirror, I buttoned a clean blue shirt, the one she said was too nice for me. Maybe that was exactly the point. I heard her footsteps pacing in the kitchen, then the distinct tone of her voice. Suddenly louder, too casual, the kind of voice meant for an audience. Hey, you still at the office? Pause. Yeah, just thought we could grab dinner or something. Nothing formal. Pause. Soft laugh. No, not a date. Just co-workers unwinding. I froze at the doorway, half smiling to myself. She knew I could hear. That was the whole show. Okay, see you in 30. I'll pick the place. She hung up and turned around just in time to see me standing there. Going somewhere? I asked. Guess I'll get dinner with Julian. We're all exploring tonight, huh? She said, voice dripping acid. Looks like, I said, grabbing my keys. Enjoy your open schedule. Her eyes flared. You don't even care, do you? I paused by the door. I stopped auditioning for that role. You're impossible. And you're late, I said, glancing at the clock. Wouldn't want to keep Freedom waiting. I stepped out. She didn't follow this time. Just stood there, holding her phone like a weapon she forgot how to use. The hallway was quiet. I could still hear the faint echo of her voice through the door, repeating my name once, softer, like she wasn't sure if she wanted me to hear it. Outside, the air was clean and cold. For the first time in months, I felt lighter. Not happy, not free, just done. I didn't rush to the cafe. I drove slow, windows down, hands steady. Behind me, the building disappeared in the rear view. A place full of noise trying to sound like love. And as I turned the corner, I realized she wasn't chasing love anymore. She was chasing the feeling of being missed. And I wasn't the one giving it to her anymore. Madison picked the kind of restaurant that makes you whisper without knowing why. Soft light, calm jazz. A place where the loudest thing was your own thoughts trying to sound fine. I parked outside, sat there for a full minute, watching my reflection in the rearview mirror. Clean shirt, tired eyes, a man who finally stopped arguing with ghosts. When I walked in, she was already there. Simple black dress, hair tied back, a glass of water in front of her, not wine. Always in control. She smiled when she saw me. You made it. Yeah, I said, taking a seat. Figured I'd ruin another woman's night for balance. She laughed softly. You look better than I expected. That's because your expectations are realistic. The waiter dropped off menus we didn't need. Madison didn't bother opening hers. She just looked at me, direct, steady, not like someone collecting gossip, but like someone who already knew the story and wanted the truth anyway. So, she said, leaning in slightly, how are you holding up after the big announcement? I chuckled, but it sounded like an exhale. You mean after my wife publicly upgraded us to an open marriage? That one, she said. Yeah. I've been worse, I said, like that time I bought crypto. She smiled, then her tone shifted. Lower, real. I'll be honest, Adam. I never liked Tessa. I raised an eyebrow. You don't say. No, she continued, voice even. She's exhausting. Everything with her is a performance. She manipulates, plays victim, flips it all like she's doing you a favor by hurting you. I looked down at the tablecloth. You've been holding that one in. For years, Madison said. She's the kind of person who confuses peace with boredom. You gave her stability, and she hated it because it didn't make noise. I nodded slowly. Yeah, she said once she missed the chaos. I thought she meant youth. Turns out she meant adrenaline. Madison gave a half smile. She was addicted to drama. You were her rehab, and she kept relapsing. For the first time, I laughed. Not the bitter kind, just free. That's disturbingly accurate. She tilted her head, studying me. You're not boring, Adam. You're steady. You think before you speak. You show up. People like Tessa don't know what to do with that. They call it dull because it doesn't demand attention every 5 minutes. I stared at her for a moment. You ever considered a career in therapy? Too many broken people, she said, smiling. And I hate clipboards. We both laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that doesn't need permission. Then silence again. Not awkward, just full. She looked at me with something between kindness and warning. Whatever you decide next, make your decision for yourself. Not for her, not to prove anything. For peace. Peace, I repeated, tasting the word like something expensive. She nodded. Exactly. You've earned the right to stop trying to fix what wants to stay broken. That line hit harder than I expected. I didn't respond. I just sat back, breathed, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt light. No fire, no fury, just calm. Like someone turned off a constant noise I didn't realize was running in the background. We finished dinner, talking about nothing. Random stories, stupid jokes, safe ground. It wasn't flirtation, it was humanity. And I didn't realize how much I'd missed that until right then. When the check came, she reached for it. I stopped her. You've already paid enough by sitting through my therapy session, she smiled. Fine. But next time, you're buying coffee. No emotional baggage allowed. I'll leave it in the trunk, I said. She stood, picked up her coat, and gave me a look that wasn't pity or desire. Just respect. You'll be okay, Adam. I think so, I said. Thanks for reminding me. She nodded once and left, heels soft against the floor. For a second, I watched her go. Not because I wanted her, but because she left like she meant it. No games, no drama. Just done. The apartment was dark when I got home. One light on in the living room. Dim, yellow, the kind that pretends to be cozy, but only makes shadows softer. The apartment was dark when I got home. One light in the living room. Dim, warm, pretending to be cozy, but only managing to stretch the shadows. The air smelled like her perfume and cheap red wine. Tessa sat on the couch, barefoot, phone face down beside her. She looked up when I closed the door. You actually went, she said quietly. I did, I said, setting my keys on the counter. And so did you. Her eyebrows lifted. Excuse me? Dinner with Julian, I said. She blinked too slowly. It wasn't a date. It was just 2 coworkers getting dinner. I nodded, walking past her toward the sink. Sure, at 10 p.m., after announcing you're open. Just coworkers rediscovering appetite. She crossed her arms. You're unbelievable. You went out with Madison Coffee, I said. Conversation, honesty. No games. I turned, leaned against the counter. You should try it sometime. Her jaw tensed. You don't even care, do you? I stopped caring about damage control, I said. There's nothing left to save that still looks like us. She stood, voice trembling with frustration. I made a mistake, Adam. I met her eyes calm. No, you made a decision. Mistakes are accidents. Decisions come with wine and witnesses. I was drunk, she said. I didn't mean it. I was angry and you were so distant. Drunk people don't invent new truths, I cut in softly. They just stop editing the old ones. She flinched like I'd hit her. You're being cruel. No, I said. I'm being done. That stopped her cold. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, full of every word we'd ever twisted to fit our needs. She started pacing. You're just gonna walk away? After everything? I'm walking away from nothing, Tess. That's the point. She stared at me like she didn't recognize the person in front of her. I just wanted you to fight for me, she whispered. You don't want a partner, I said. You want an opponent. Her lip trembled. I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said. You just didn't notice when. The words landed like the final note of a song that used to mean something. She sat down again, burying her face in her hands. For the first time in years, she wasn't performing. She was just quiet. I walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out a small suitcase. Behind me, her voice cracked. What are you doing? Exactly what you told everyone I could, I said, packing, living the open part. Adam, please. Don't I zip the bag? You told the world I was free? I'm just agreeing with you. At the doorway, I paused. She lifted her head, eyes red, desperate. Where will you go? She asked. Anywhere that doesn't sound like us, I said. I reached for the handle, then looked back one last time. You know, I said quietly, Madison told me something tonight. Her voice broke. What? She said peace isn't about who stays. It's about who stops breaking you. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then I stepped through the door. It closed behind me with a soft click. Final, unhurried. Outside, the night felt wider. Cool air, no noise, no acting, just space. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking away from her. I was walking back to myself. 6 months later, the world had the decency to keep turning. The divorce papers came in a thin beige envelope that looked as tired as I felt. No lawyers screaming, no courtroom scenes, just quiet signatures that turned years into paperwork. I signed mine at the kitchen counter, the same spot where she once said we needed more excitement. I guess we found some. Life after her wasn't fireworks. It was silence, coffee, and space. I moved into a smaller apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 bike, no ghosts. The walls didn't echo arguments anymore. The morning smelled like coffee instead of tension. For the first time in years, I woke up without waiting for someone to start a storm. People kept asking how I was doing. I said, rested. It confused them, but it was true. I spent weekends riding out past the edge of town where the air stopped pretending to belong to anyone. There's something sacred about watching a sunset with no one narrating it. I ran into Bradley once in a grocery store. He looked at me, grinned, and said, Man, you look different. Sleeping helps, I said. He nodded. Tessa moved out west, right? Heard she's doing some yoga retreat thing. Good for her, I said. She finally found an audience that claps. He laughed. You've gotten colder. Just quieter, I said. Big difference. One evening, Madison stopped by while I was fixing the bike. She handed me a cup of coffee and leaned on the garage door. Still your therapy? She asked. It works better than couples counseling, I said. She smiled. You seem lighter. I stopped fixing what wanted to stay broken, I said. She nodded. Told you so. We talked for a bit. Work, friends, Derek's midlife tattoo, normal things. When she left, she gave me a small smile and said, See you around. And that was it. No tension, no undertones, no sparks. Just 2 people who survived the same explosion and learned how to walk again. Almost a year after the party, Derek hosted another one. Same house, same lights, different air. People greeted me warmly, not out of pity this time, but respect. Bradley raised a glass and said, To surviving bad ideas. Everyone laughed. I did too. Later that night, I stepped outside for some air. The backyard was quiet except for the hum of music behind me. The same sky hung overhead, but it looked wider now. Maybe it always was. I just kept staring at the wrong parts. That party, the one that was supposed to humiliate me, ended up setting me free. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't replaying what went wrong. I was finally living what came after. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.